Thanks for joining us for the OA Showcase and Employment. My name is TJ Beasley. I am the coordinator of Outdoor Adventures, and tonight is going to be a chance for us to give you a brief overview of the program, and then we have some of our awesome OA staff on the call with us, and they can answer any questions about what it's like working for OA, and talk about how awesome OA is. So we'll start off by introducing the staff that's on the call. And Chris, if you want to go first, and then name whoever you want to go next.
Yeah, no problem. Hey all, my name is Chris Hendricks. I work full-time with TJ as the director for the program. And I have been here for, I started my 8th year in January. So seeing a lot of awesome things happen with this program. And super excited to learn more about you all and talk more about what opportunities we may have. So yeah, why don't, Casey, why don't you go next, and then you can call on someone.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Casey. I actually graduated from Duke in 2019, but I kept working with OA. And I started there my junior year of college. And I was the wall manager when the wall was open. I also taught workshops and did route setting. But yes, I love OA. I love working with the people here. It's very fun. Jeff, why don't you go next?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey. I'm currently a sophomore at Duke. I've been working since I was a freshman. And what do? I do a little bit of everything. So I'm a wall man. No, I'm not. I'm a wall monitor. I'm a route setter. I teach workshops, and I've just started my trip leader training, so I will be doing that as well. And I work with the adaptive climb program. Yeah. And Liz, why don't you go next?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth. Thank you, Anna, my roommate, giving me some banana bread. And I am a wall monitor. I've been working at OA since I was a freshman. And so wall monitor, trip leader, a route setter in training, and I work on the Duke Adaptive Climbs and other like event programming. And I'm gonna ask Jose.
Hi, I'm Jose. I graduated in the spring, and like this last spring, and I was a wall supervisor, a trip leader, a route setter, and I think that's it. And I did teach workshops, but not very many. What were the other things? That's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Megan, I guess you're last.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a junior. I've been working for OA since my sophomore year, and I'm also a wall monitor, trip leader, and learning how to be a route setter. And I also work with Duke Adaptive Climb.
Awesome. So I'll do a brief overview of the program. And this is when we are operational. Currently, we are only offering our equipment rentals. So we have camping equipment available for rent, sleeping bags, coolers. We have some crash pads, climbing shoes. So people will come to the wall to rent equipment from us. But we do have a 35-foot climbing wall in the Wilson Recreation Center. And we have workshops for our program as well. So our workshops, we have instructional workshops for climbing. So we'll teach belay workshops, how to belay when you're at the wall. And then we'll also do some skill-based workshops for climbing, and then for kayaking. So we have kayaks over at Brody Pool. So we'll do kayaking workshops over there, and we'll also run backpacking workshops or like backcountry cooking workshops. We have our trips program, and we do trips all across North Carolina and even the US for our longer like spring break trips. But we'll do anything from hiking, climbing, whitewater kayaking, backpacking, skiing. We've done some really fun ones like hang gliding before. Last semester we had like goat yoga, unfortunately got canceled, but I'm still excited to do some goat yoga. But pretty much we'll do anything outside. We like to get out and explore the area and do a lot of fun activities. And then we also have an adaptive climbing program, which works with people with disabilities to help them climb. It's a really cool program. It is, we work with people in the Durham community, and we do climbs at the Duke Wall and then also at TRC, the Triangle Rock Club, at different locations around the Triangle. And then something newer that we created once COVID hit were personal trip plans. So these are free trip plans that are on the website for you all to download to different areas around Durham. And then we will be expanding them. But currently they're in the Durham area. But if you want to get outside, because currently right now we're not running trips, but you want to explore the area, you can download a trip plan. It'll tell you where to go, what facilities are there, some risk management stuff, and then give you recommendations on what to do when you're there. They're pretty cool and they're free, which is awesome. And yeah, that's kind of a brief overview of our program. Chris, do you want to talk about our employment opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. And then we'll just kind of open it up for you all to ask questions and for our lovely staff to just kind of give you some insight into what it's like to work with OA. So, you know, we, as TJ mentioned, we're not operating right now, or I should say we're operating on a very like bare bones type of operation. It's really just TJ and I facilitating the rentals and putting together the trip plans. Megan's been doing a lot of work to help us put together some accessible trip plans along with a website that we call Belay Buddies. And this is our way of keeping our adaptive climbing community engaged while we can't program with them. So you all heard from our staff that they have held like multiple roles within the program, and that's really like what we strive for. You know, we certainly have folks that come and work at the climbing wall, and that's you know, as far as it goes, as far as their work with us, and that's totally fine. But there are lots of opportunities to get as involved as you'd like. So it really all kind of starts at the climbing wall. You know, what that looks like when we reopen is probably going to be a little bit different. So we can't tell you like exactly what that's going to look like, but the climbing wall is still there and it's still going to be a part of our program. So we know we're going to need to staff that. The trips program is another aspect where a lot of our folks get involved. So you are able to go through a training process that will likely change. So we won't dive too deep into that, but once you complete this training process, you shadow some trips so you can just get that real life experience. And then you're eligible to work as a trip assistant. We're leading a trip with an experienced leader. We also staff our adaptive clients. So we have a set of staff that only does that. And those are primarily graduate students. I don't know that we have any undergraduates, but like PT students that just have a heavy workload, and most of our adaptive climbs happen on the weekend. But we also staff those climbs with our general OA staff or climbing wall monitors. So there's certainly opportunities to get involved in that program. And then, like TJ mentioned, our instructional workshops. So we hire students to teach a variety of workshops from, you know, intro beginner classes to more intermediate and advanced classes. We really pride ourselves on Outdoor Adventures being a community. Our staff are close knit. I imagine a lot of them are still hanging out together, at least folks that are on campus. And it's really just a strong community. It's a good place, and a good space to be. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And let's see, what else can I say? So we established, a few years ago, we established kind of 3 pillars of the program. And so we say those 3 pillars are accessibility, community, and education. So whenever we're designing a new program or trying to put together a new trip or whatever, a new initiative by our program, those are kind of the 3 things where we're thinking about the accessibility of it for all abilities, mobilities, and experience levels. Does it foster a sense of community, and is there some element of education to it? So that's really everything that we do. We try and do within that realm. Anything I missed, TJ?
No, I think that's good. So
Cool. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's open up. Do you all have any questions for our staff about OA in general, what it's like to work for OA?
I was just going to ask what skills you need to start working for OA, and then what skills you might learn as working for the program.
Maddie, I'm so glad you asked that, because I meant to talk about that. No experience is needed. So, obviously depending on what you want to do with us, some experience helps, but some of our best staff have come in with, very little experience. So we focus on your personality and, I think being good with people, being able to, show some leadership skills. Those are the kind of things that we're looking for, more so than technical skills. So yeah, we've hired plenty of beginners that have maybe even never climbed before and end up working at the climbing wall. So as far as skills that you can learn, I mean, the list is endless. It's a strong community of outdoor enthusiasts and well-educated folks, whether you're learning from our staff or learning from climbers at the wall. A lot of our staff, I would say, tend to focus on certain activities. So, Jeff and Casey are big climbers, so they've focused a lot of time and energy into climbing, but they may also lead a paddleboarding trip or a day hike or something like that. I think we really pride ourselves on being an accessible program. So, absolute beginners can come out with us, and our curriculum will meet them where they're at. But I mean, as far as activities, climbing, whitewater paddling, hiking, paddleboarding, we went winter camping last year. So really, whatever you want to learn, we can find a way to teach you.
I had a question. Could you explain a little bit more about the process towards becoming a trip leader? And obviously, this is probably a hard question to answer, but how COVID might affect things.
That's a good question. Georgia, TJ.
So with becoming a trip leader, and again, this could change, but you would go through trip leader training, and man, it's been a while since I've talked about this. There are different elements. So we have a trip leader seminar that you would attend. So that covers our policies and procedures, risk management, paperwork, kind of all the back end stuff. And then you would need a foundation training. So we run training trips, which you could go on. You can also receive this from the P Wild House course, or if you have previous experience. So you just need that foundation training. And then the next aspect of it is shadowing trips. So you'd actually go out on trips and shadow. We found that that's where folks learn the most, is actually being out there on trips.
Yeah, I'm actually in the house course that you mentioned for the outdoor ed P Wild one.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's great. I was wondering if we have any updates on like whether or not that will happen this year. Yeah.
As far as P Wild?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Answer that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so P Wild is, as of now, virtual, but there are like discussions about keeping it in person. So it's a possibility, definitely, but like we do not know. I'm actually like housemates of the person who's in charge of it. So there's lots of communication going on between them and the people who like organize student programming. But initially it was all, it's gonna be virtual, and now they're looking to otherwise. So I have hope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
from what we've learned, they're really taking their time to make these decisions. So nothing's going to be decided until close to summer, I would guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to touch on too. We're really well connected with P Wild as well as Outing Club. And a lot of our staff come from P Wild, so it's a really great program for us to partner with and to work with. And as we look to like reimagine and kind of reestablish everything, I think we're going to work to make that relationship even stronger.
Is Outing Club still a thing?
Yeah, so they moved to a student org. They're no longer a sport club, but as far as I know, they still exist. I don't know.
Climbing club still a thing too, or no?
Yeah, Carmen's apparently the captain. She said she's the captain and
Who?
doesn't do anything. Carmen.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're doing something, but nothing. I don't know.
I think what we might be able to see is, especially after this year, if folks are interested, they could look to like reapply to become a climbing team with sport clubs. So I think there's some potential there.
Do y'all have any more questions?
I have a question about route setting because I'm super interested in that. So I was wondering, like, if, for example, like the climbing wall stays closed at the beginning of next school year, would there still be a possibility of like getting involved through like maybe like starting that training, or would like training for that have to wait until the wall is open too?
Yeah, that's another great question. So I'm just gonna say that it's gonna be open in the fall. Fingers crossed. But hopefully we don't even have to deal with that. But that's really what we're shooting for. We are, in our most optimistic mind, we're gonna be able to open maybe for summer 2. But that's being, I think, pretty optimistic. We're pretty confident we're gonna be able to open in the fall. But regardless, yes, that's something we're working on now, is like being able to identify time and get permission to bring our staff that are currently on roster in, so that we can start that training process around route setting, as well as monitoring the wall and just building up those skills. One way or another we'll make it happen, because we're going to need that. We're going to need experienced and skilled staff to staff the wall, and we're going to need some experienced route setters. So we need to start that process as soon as we can. So as soon as we get the green light, we're gonna pull something together. Right now, what we're trying to poke at is Sundays. So the facility is closed on Sundays, and from what I understand, I think that's the biggest concern, because if you've been in the Wilson Recreation Center, the climbing wall is like just kind of right in the middle and around everything. So I think there's some concern around that. So if we were able to get into that space when it's not open, we might be able to do some training with our staff. But again, everything is, it seems like they're just making decisions kind of day by day. So we don't really know when we might be able to pull something like that off.
Nice. And then I want to ask our staff some questions.
Real quick, Grace, did you have another question?
Oh yeah, but it can totally wait.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. And Arsaf, we can like just popcorn. Not everyone has to answer, just whatever you feel. So why do you work for OA, and what do you like most about working for OA?
I go first, I guess. I initially wanted to work at OA just because I wanted to get more into climbing, but like the thing I liked most about OA was just like the community that was like part of it, that you can always find like people on campus that you can like that you like knew from either like like leading trips with or being on shift with. And like another thing was that like it just gave you a place on campus where you can always just like feel like it just feels like home. Like if I had nothing to do on maybe like a Friday afternoon, I would just hop over the wall and there would always be someone, whether it be on the staff or like climbing, that I always just knew. And it just made me feel like there was just like a smaller community where I felt really welcome.
I was gonna say the exact same thing as Jeff, and I came into OA without any experience, so I was one of those people who didn't like I knew how to belay and that was it, just because I climbed at the wall. But yeah, my favorite part of it is the community for all of the reasons Jeff was saying. Like there's always someone there that you know, whether it's like one of your coworkers or just people you know from climbing there. We're always doing silly things like crosswords behind the desk and various bonding things. And like Chris was saying, he said he hopes that we're all hanging out outside of Duke, and we are indeed. I see Jeff and Liz and Jose all the time, usually at TRC, but we found another place to like congregate that involved climbing. But yeah, it's definitely the people that are my favorite part of OA. And the route setting was great, but I really miss that.
Me too.
I really enjoyed Chris taking down my routes.
Or Casey.
It wasn't always
Specifically
me.
Chris.
It wasn't always me though.
The ones.
But in actuality, I enjoyed the trips because essentially you got to like go do things. I'm getting called. Hold on. There we go. You essentially got to go and do things like basically for free. Like, right, you essentially you get to go on a trip and lead people and like get to show people things, but then also you're on the trip too. So like whenever I led the rock climbing trip, right, like I'd always be belaying people, but like it's also just such a nice time to like go and get out and like escape the Duke bubble, and literally like you're getting paid to go on a trip. I think another cool trip was like the beach trip that I led. I got paid to go and take people to the beach and then like show them how to surf and like relax. So I think definitely being a trip leader is really, really cool, just because, you know, you just also just get to explore North Carolina. Cause like I would never have gone to the beach if I hadn't like gone on a big thing too, on like this trip. So yeah.
Similar to Casey, like I came into OA with like very little experience. Like I started rock climbing my freshman year at Duke. I started getting more into the outdoors my freshman year. And like I've never met like a community of people who have been just so open to teach people things, and just like no matter, you can ask like a ton of questions, and everyone in OA is just so open and supportive and trying to help you like cultivate those skills and like become better. And yeah, I think like without OA, I definitely would not be able to go on the trips that I have. Just like it makes it so accessible because I'm working those trips, and also it's just super rewarding. Like I'm assuming people who want to work for OA really love the outdoors, and just like sharing those skills and seeing people who aren't typically into the outdoors like fall in love with it is like absolutely amazing. Like I led the fall break backpacking trip, and this random group of grad students decided to just do the backpacking trip for fun because they were all international students and couldn't go home, and they were like not outdoorsy people at all, and this was just like a spontaneous thing that they wanted to try, and just like to see them just like go all in and like enjoy learning how to like cook outdoors and like go walk like miles to like help us find water and just like enjoy backpacking and like fall in love with it, just like how I fell in love with it. Was like a really amazing experience. And yeah, there's just like nothing like it, and always like really amazing. Definitely probably one of the best choices that I made in college.
It was one of my favorite parts of college for sure.
Yeah, we do some fun things. Also, you get access to our equipment inventory for free. So lots of perks.
Yeah, I
Get
think
pro deals.
Oh,
Sorry.
and deals, yes. Discounted
That's
equipment.
Jose's pitch.
you get like half
Forgot
off
about
your
the
class.
deals.
Yeah, also like in my interview, I think Chris asked me like why did you apply to OA? And I was like, because Jose told me to. And like ever since then, like I don't know, the people have been a huge part of it, but also like the places that you do get to go, and not even that, like the places that people who you work with like tell you to go to. So even things that are beyond work, like learning how, or things that you're told to do for work, like learn how to do these like certain rope techniques for like setting up outdoor climbs. You go with your friends and they teach you how to do that, like on Pilot Mountain. And like that's not for work, but it's like really fun to do anyways. And like if COVID hadn't happened, I would have gone with Jeff to Utah and like led a rock climbing trip, which would have been so cool. But like, yeah, there were so many other opportunities like that that you can just 110% take. And I would say that like it was my favorite part of last year. So not just like a part of college for me, like massive part of it. And I'm really, I don't know, like TJ and Chris have been really good about setting up Zooms, especially during quarantine. And I would like look forward to those so much just because like I love talking to my coworkers.
Oh,
So.
awesome.
If you, yeah, just apply. Like honestly, such an amazing experience.
So do you all have any advice for people interested in working for OA?
Don't think you're not qualified, for sure.
Just be enthusiastic.
Yeah. And just, I think just like the willingness to learn and just like get to know your peers is like pretty much all you need. And yeah, I was really nervous, but my big and one of the clubs that I was in really like egged me on to apply for OA. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was like applying to OA, like for me was like came with a lot of hesitancies. And yeah, you shouldn't doubt applying. If you're like remotely interested, you should definitely apply.
My advice would probably be to like, if you're interested in something, like it's sort of off of what Megan says. Like if you're interested in something, like keep trying to go for it. Like it took me, I think, like 2 or 3 years to eventually become a route setter. And it's just because there were a lot of route setters at the time. But like definitely like just keep going. And like again, as Megan said, you don't really need a lot of experiences because like all you need is someone to teach you. And then like a lot of the growing happens when people sort of like give you feedback and help you grow in that. So and that's sort of like the best part is like not only do you like grow in sort of like this new skill, but also you learn like sort of soft skills like how to receive feedback, right? How to like take it and improve on something. And so I think a lot of this stuff is definitely a good takeaway, especially for the future.
You also get to meet a bunch of really cool graduate students who come and climb. And yeah, I would echo Jose, and like you keep learning. And so like I tried to learn how to set a route and Casey just trashed me, but like it was a really fun experience. And yeah, just like a lot of little things like that, even if it's like how to do a crossword puzzle within like X amount of time, and you feel very accomplished if you figure out a clue behind the desk. But there are like those little moments where you're just like with your coworkers and learning like on and off. So
Well, nice. Thanks everyone for sharing. I miss you all so much.
I know, that was so nice to hear.
I know. Are there any more questions that you have for us or any of our staff?
I have one more question, if that's okay.
Of course.
I was talking to Megan actually about Duke adaptive climbing, and I was just wondering what the training looks like for that and the application. I'm sure the timeline isn't super set in stone yet right now, but I guess I was wondering, like, on a normal year, what that would look like.
Yeah, definitely. So it's pretty, in a normal year, it's pretty quick turnaround. I mean, if you're interested in like volunteering with the program, it's basically filling out an application and then going through volunteer training. In the past, we've usually hosted those like right before the climbs. But this summer, we're hoping that Megan's going to be able to work with us to kind of rebuild our volunteer training. And so it'll probably be like once a month, maybe twice a month. So really the only thing we're going to require is that you attend that, that volunteer training, even if you're a staff and being paid to work the adaptive climbs, going through that training and then signing up for climbs. So it's a pretty quick process. Our ability to resume programming with that is probably going to be dependent on, it is definitely going to be dependent on the university. And once they allow in-person programming on campus, then we'll be able to resume that. We've kind of explored, because a lot of that program happens off campus at one of the local Triangle Rock clubs. But the university is not supporting any off-campus programming, and we're using university-owned equipment and funding essentially to program that. So hopefully by the summer, definitely by the fall. Fingers crossed.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions?
And then I have another question for the staff. Just what was your favorite like position in OA?
My favorite position was being a trip leader.
Mine was route setting. I'm very into rock climbing, so being able to like be creative and like create the routes was super cool, and train other people even if I trash the routes. I'm sorry, Liz.
I will echo that as well. I love route setting, and I love just being there and seeing like the first few like test climbers like try the route, and like trying to see them figure out what I like tried to see. And like it's also like you get a lot of feedback from your climbers, and you just improve both as a setter and as a climber as well. It's just a really enjoyable process.
You get a lot of feedback from the climbers.
Oh yeah, everyone will let you know what they think. It's great.
You're always
in a good way, in a good constructive way.
In a good constructive way, definitely.
Most.
I would say 97% were constructive.
Yeah.
There was always that 3%.
I like being a wall monitor just because you have to meet new people. Makes you feel like a lot more connected to the outdoor community at Duke.
Yeah, I'd have to agree too. I think like wall monitor and also just staffing the Duke adaptive climbs, I really, really enjoyed that. I think like OA does like a really, really good job as an outdoor program to just like make climbing really accessible. And I don't know, I think that's what makes it really different than some of the other outdoor programs at Duke. But yeah, just like meeting random people at the wall. I feel like the wall has always just been an escape, but also like a cool place to just meet random people that you just never would ever meet, just because you're working and climbing at the wall.
Any other thoughts, questions?
Well, wonderful. I want to thank everyone again for joining us this evening. It's been really great to connect with you. It really makes me miss OA, and But I'm just that more excited for when we do get up and running again.
TJ, can you send a follow-up email to everyone and include the link for the application? I'm sure you're already planning on doing that. But
yeah, I'll include the link for the application and then to this recording as well. If you want to go back and if you was like, oh, what did they say for that answer? Or just see how much fun we have at OA.
So yeah, if you're at all interested in potentially working with us in the future, definitely fill out that. We call it an application, but it's really just we're just gathering some of your information. And then as soon as we are ready to hire again, you all will be the first to get that notice. And you can choose to, essentially what we do is we just send an email that says, hey, here are some available interview times. If you're interested, reach out. So if you're not interested, you're not committing to anything by filling out that application. So definitely do that. And then if you all are climbers or enjoy climbing, I'd encourage you to connect with one of the folks on this call, because they climb regularly and might be able to set you up at Triangle Rock Club.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because I don't know, my apartment's rules are kind of strict about COVID. What does like climbing at TRC look like? Like, is it packed or is it like?
Do you want an in-person look right now? Everyone's in masks. I'm outside TRC right now.
I thought you might be outside, Jeff. I recognized the building and I was like,
yeah, no, it was yeah. Everyone's in masks. It's relaxed a bit since the start of COVID. Like now reservations aren't that important, but everyone's always in masks and usually pretty socially distanced when you're not like no one's in a big clump. And if you come before 5, it's like pretty empty. So.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can go like during the week, during the day, that's ideal.
Okay.
There was this one time when Chen went and they told her to get a reservation, but then Katie and I went and we didn't need a reservation. So, or we got a reservation right the second that we went in. So
yeah,
it's pretty easy to get in.
Yeah. I love TRC and I think they have phenomenal facilities. I think, like Jeff said, they've eased up on their COVID restrictions a little bit, but honestly, I'd say it's not much different than like if you've been to Wilson. They encourage folks to practice, social distancing and masks at all times.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And if people want to, I know some people are, there's a climbing group me. Okay, yeah. All right, Casey beat me to it. So.
Oh, dang, I can finally join.
No.
What, Jeff? That was not the right reaction.
I mean, yay.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep your kids' chat to yourselves.
Good, you won't see all the stuff we talked about.
I know, I don't want to.
Most of this Burger King,
Most of it is us holding Jose's like Kirby hostage and like threatening violence against it. Like Jeff kidnapped it one time. I don't know. It's quite funny. He like sent photos of it in random places and was like, "You're never gonna get it back." So there's a community here.
Watson was gonna take it to California.
I still think we should make him into a chalk bag like Fred.
I second that.
Like Flat Stanley, but Kirby.
You guys are funny. Cool.
My phone is running out of battery, but it was great meeting you all, and I hope you all apply. So.
Yeah, certainly let us know if you have any questions, and we'll make sure that you all are notified as soon as we have any more information. Fingers crossed that soon. Thanks, everyone.
Will this be like an email list thing?
Oh, sorry.
Will this be like an email list thing when the application opens?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually what I'll do is also add folks to our listserv, and we don't email the listserv very often, but again, as soon as we have information, our listserv will be the first to know.
All right, well, thanks everyone.